Hello, guys, gals, and my non-binary pals. It is Tyler, Michael, he, him, his here, and we are here for another power ranking tier list type video for the restricted Pokemon Draft League Pearl Division. Before we dive in, I will let you know we're gonna hear from a bunch of other coaches as well. We did like a nice little recording session. This is the second one because the first one got lost. Less but still super exciting. We are 3 weeks in. This is a 10-week league, so we have finished 3 weeks. And we thought we would just dive in, see how the teams are going, see what changes have been made for sure. So this is going to be a little bit like of a tier ranking system, and it's going to be focused a lot on like the team analysis because there's been a lot of trades, there's been some coach changes. So we're going to be focusing on how they've been battling, but also really focus on the team draft as well. I think as we get towards week like 5 and 6, we'll start looking more at the like head-to-head matches, strength of schedule stuff, and how that affects power rankings. But right now we're just like seeing where they're at, seeing where we tier them. It's very exciting. As always, these are just opinions. Like, this is just how we're feeling about the teams. We could also be super wrong about them. I say at least like 5 wrong things in these videos a day. Forget about abilities, forget about moves, whatever. But it'll be exciting. I'm glad you're joining. I hope you have some feelings. If you have some differing opinions, feel free to like comment or like subscribe. I'm a YouTuber, fancy. And then at the end of this, we'll actually compare to my original power ranking and just see how the teams have shifted and adjusted over the last 3 weeks. But that is all. Hope you enjoy, and you'll be hearing from our other coaches and myself in just a moment. Hello, friends. We are recording, and we are here to redo our Pearl power rankings. You know, little technical difficulties, but my name is Tyler Michael. I'm super excited. I'm the coach of the Somerville Scraggies. I'm excited, and we're going to get started. Who's next?
I'm Borb Prime, aka Heir to the Empire, depending on where you catch me. Coach of the Greenway, GarterBars. Just got my teeth kicked in.
All right. Well, hey guys, my name is Quincy Fresh. I am the coach of the Indeedies. Thanks for having me on. Can't wait to discuss some teams.
Yeah, this is Lucien, coach of Rebellion in the Diamond Division. I'm ready.
Nice. So we had already done this before, so we're going to sort of speed through and just give you a sense of like why these teams are where they are, and like we might change things up. We'll see what happens. But alphabetical order puts us at Austin Toros. Oh, and I realized, can y'all see what I'm seeing? I can probably share that. Does that make it easier for y'all to see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sweet. Austin Toros. Anyone want to start us off? We put this team in B. They were sitting at 1 and 2 so far. They did get a win on the Warren Central Zamazentas, but dropped 0-2 to the Greenville Good Boys and the Chicago Bearticks.
Speaking from experience, this team is very much trying to find their footing. Against the right opponent, they can get a win, but against anyone with sufficient experience and know-how, they'll have a rough time. I think B is the right spot for them.
I'd say the spot right. You see some very rudimentary cores here with the Torkoal and the Hatterene with the Trick Room, and then also Torkoal and Venusaur for the Sun, obviously. So there's some very easy to get to understand cores to this team, but nothing to be slept on for sure.
No, yeah. And I think something that's interesting is it is pretty meta, like things that we've seen a lot of. That's not to say it's not dangerous in any way, shape, or form. We've come up with strategies on how to deal with a lot of these pieces, which I think definitely has resulted in some of their losses, because I think if you play against experienced coaches, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I know what to do with these things. But like, man, if you're in the wrong positioning, these teams can screw you up big time.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. They have like, good meta pieces, but it's like we deal with this on the ladder all the time, so I kind of feel like this team is easy to prep for, and that's why they're kind of in the position they're in right now.
Makes sense. Sweet. Feeling B, feeling good. But Austin Toros, you still got some danger. Chicago Bearticks are up next. So we see that. And is this up? Is Calyrex Ice here, or is this? I feel like this team keeps trading around, and I can't remember.
I think they just traded for Calyrex Shadow this past week.
Yes.
Amazing. which is super interesting. So this team is 2-1. So they lost 0-2 to the Marite Farm, but came big with Dutch Ravagers and Austin Toros. What do we think of this team?
I've been working a little bit with this coach actually. We're sort of helping each other out as we go along since we don't fight each other till week 10. And it's a scary team. Cali Shadow is Cali Shadow. We know what happens there. Celebi can be anything. It has insane support options. Grimmsnarl is It's a lot of it is similar to Austin Taurus actually. A lot of meta pieces, so you know what to expect and you know how to counter it. But together, also with some of the non-meta pieces, it can be pretty scary. Like Perish Trapping with Azumarill and Gmax Scent a Scorch, Carbink to set Trick Room, Galvantula for speed control, in addition to all the meta pieces. It's kind of a scary team, and the coach knows how to use it.
Exactly. And going off of that Sense of Scorch, I've noticed that he's brought it to a lot of his games. If I'm not mistaken, it's probably his Pokemon with the best kill to being killed ratio, and it's something that's very easy to overlook. On the ladder, you don't see, Gmax Sense of Scorch as often as other Gigantamaxes, but it's definitely something that you should take account for.
Yeah, it's sitting at 7-3, which is juicy.
But I mean, in terms of sheer numbers, Excadrill does have a better KD with 6-1, but 7-3 is still not bad. Shows he puts a lot of use into it.
Yeah, I just think this team has wild support. Togekiss and Grimmsnarl together are amazing because that Follow Me is the best or one of the best, and you pair that with the Shadow Calyrex or just let Azumarill belly drum up and then start aqua jetting, like you're gonna be in trouble. So I think they had a rough start losing that first match, but I think this is a team to mess with, and that's why they ended up in the A tier.
Yeah.
Feeling good?
Yeah, 100%.
Crimmage Colossals. With Dr. Dave H., who is just the sweetest baby angel.
Yeah.
We're sitting. So I played them week 2. So they're right now sitting at 2-1. So, 1-2. I can't count. 1 win, 2 losses. This team is really interesting. This trade is questionable in my mind, but I'm gonna let y'all know Necrozma Duskmane has been swapped out for Calyrex Ice, and yes, that means he will have Glastrier and Calyrex Ice on the same team. Cold Horse and Cold Horse plus friend.
Yeah. I actually lost to him again. I lost to him week 1, and so I know a little bit of his reasoning and a little bit of his strategy. He's actually in another league, and he's mostly using this league to practice and try out different strats, which, fair enough.
Yeah, and I think what we talked about last time is this team is just so lopsided, and then it has 4 incredible support mons. You have Indeedee female, you have Whimsicott, you have Porygon 2, and you have Pikachu, which Lucia knows how supportive and awesome Pikachu can be. And just these 4 are wild. The problem is by wasting so many points on these, your offense is Sceptile, Magmortar, and then Slow Boys, who we know how to deal with. And so I just don't think there's not a significant offensive threat that I'm worried about. And I think that's why I got to capitalize, because if you toss some screens up, like, this team is going to have a hard time.
Yeah, also worth noting he dropped Ditto for Morpeko.
Oh, Ditto's wild. Ditto's a wild card, but yeah.
I really feel like he should have kept it. The Ditto, just to copycat the other team's restricted,
Yeah, exactly. It could turn someone's own offense against them, so you never really know what he's gonna bring.
He needed the points for a Cali Ice.
Yeah, I'm curious. I think if he trades Glastrier because he has Cali Ice for a big offensive piece, and that's 17 points, you could get something juicy. Move things around. I think he could really turn this team around and make it something to be super scary. But I think right now just the offensive threat had us put it at C tier.
Also, a water type. Type coverage here ain't great either.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Interesting.
So, yeah, C tier, good for them.
Crimmage Colossals. Here's the Detroit, which... unironically thought it was the Deku Buoys, and then it was just another mispronunciation. It's
Hey, whenever you say Decadui, people know what you're talking about, so, you know, it doesn't matter.
It's nice and phonic. They're sitting here at 2-1. They had 2-1 loss to the Giratina Nightmare, but they're sitting at 2-1. This is definitely a team I was scared of in the beginning. Like, I looked at this draft and I was like, "Ooh, that's a good one."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we got Mewtwo, which is Mewtwo. Zarude, I don't quite know what it does. But then Dragapult and Colossal, oh my god.
Yeah.
I will say for Zarude, it's a fantastic support mon with that jungle healing. It can cure any status that your partner has, so I think he's probably going to bring that a lot for a support option.
It also gets swagger for that Mudsdale. It's a fast swagger for Mudsdale.
Mm.
Yeah, and if you wanted to like just run hyper offense on this team, like I think if you max Mindstorm with Dragapult and then Expanded Force with Mewtwo, that would just be disgusting.
It would be. It really would be. He's got a lot of options here.
Yeah.
A lot of really good options. He's got Thwacky, he's got Hitmonlee, Aromatisse, Magnezone. There's a lot.
I think the one thing, because if I remember, we put them in A tier.
A tier.
And I think so. They have that loss. I think for me, the one thing this team is missing is like pure support. You have a lot of things that can be support pieces. Like Dragapult can be a support piece. Mewtwo can be. Inteleon can be. And it's weird because like it's sort of great that all of his support pieces aren't traditional, because if you're facing an Inteleon or Dragapult, you don't know if it's gonna max and smack you across the face or set up some screens and some icy wind stuff. So this team is really scary. It could borderline S tier in my brain.
Yeah, they just need that one really good support, and then they would be there.
We say that, and they're just gonna win out. But yeah, sitting at A tier, Detroit Decadui. Next up is the other Detroit team, the Detroit Sableyes. And they're sitting at, I find that the scores being so low is wild to me. They're sitting at 1-2. They had an 0-2 loss to the Victoria Buswall, an 0-2 loss to the former Birmingham Blazekins, will now be the Welsh Whale Lords. But they did take a 2-0 against the New Jersey Jellicents, which I think were a different team at the time. But,
I believe they were. Don't remember what they was, though.
Yeah. Where did we put this?
I think they were the Polytoads.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's see. We put them in B, bottom of B. Yeah. And I can kind of see why. Their team is, again, lopsided.
Mm-hmm.
This time a little more towards support. Similar to Crimmick Colossals, but less egregious.
Yeah, I think this team is definitely going to do well. I think they had a rough start, but I think they made some really smart trades. They put Mienshao and Scraggy in there. Scraggy is incredible. It gives you Intimidate. You have 2 fake out users. You have Wide Guard on Mienshao. I think those trades are really smart. I think it'll definitely improve how they were doing in the beginning of the season. And it paid off. They got a win right away. And if they can get these pieces working together, I think they could be a real dangerous team.
Right. Coaching Mienshao next to Dynamax Metagross is a thought.
Yeah, that would be pretty scary.
Oh, doesn't Mienshao get coaching? And it's fast too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
105 speed. Oh, yeah.
Mew also gets coaching. I think Mew is like the best mythical, in my opinion. In this format.
Yeah, you don't know what
every game almost.
Yep, exactly. True. Like it can go like hyper offense or just super support.
Yeah. I think they're definitely sitting at B with a 1-2 record, but I think they have a chance to come and kick some butt. And I'm excited to see how they do.
Well, I know what the best mythical will be when the Diamond and Pearl remakes come out.
Who?
Isn't it obvious?
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah,
Arceus.
Fiona.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't remember. I don't remember what comes with which games. You're gonna have to help me out. I I'm sitting here saying Decky Dewey, and you think I know what mythicals coming on the 4th generation.
Arceus with base 120 across the board.
Oof. That is destabilized. Here's the Dutch Ravagers. I think we have to definitely preface this with, I think the Dutch Ravagers we are the Pearl Division, which is some new folks, and not that they're necessarily new, but I think they've had some things that have not set them up for success. Partially is that they still have 15 points left, and they haven't used them, and I am like, you could trade some of these lower pieces. Though these are actually nice lower pieces. Like Totenel's real nice, but you could get rid of Tyrantrum or get a better water type, and trade around and just get some pieces. And I think, weren't you, Air, saying something about not knowing they didn't have to bring the same 6 every week?
Yeah, they thought they had to bring the exact same 6 mons every week, same sets and all.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'm
taking the 110-point challenge.
The 110. Yeah, that's how you flex on them. So I definitely think this team could be great. I think if they swap some things around, because they have some great pieces like Rabambi with that fast speed. If you get a terrain setter for Drifblim, if you get something a little less aggressive to hit Colossal, because I think Crawdont does a little too much damage, it could be great. But right now they're sitting at D-Tier. Because they just a little not the best formed team.
They need some help so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're 0-3.
They got to use their points.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if they went with a winless season.
I think they'll turn it around. I mean, I say this. I play them next and watch me just get smacked tomorrow. Like, my boots absolutely smoked. That underdog mentality.
Honestly, I went in with almost 0 prep and I was fine.
We'll see. I mean, any given Sunday. But for right now, we're sticking them in the D tier. And here's Giratina Nightmare. So this is a little deceptive in that. So this team is 2-1.
2-1.
But that loss was a forfeit loss, right?
Yeah, they played me week 1, but the team they took over for dropped out that Sunday, so unfortunately we didn't have enough time to finish our match.
Sweet. So this coach, though 2-1 is actually 2-0. Let's talk about this team. What do we see?
It has
I see their
a
mascot.
lot of good pieces.
Yeah, I think we talked about this being truly the bulkiest of teams.
Oh yes, all of the beef. Good God, Lapras, G-Max, Finny, Duraludon, Chansey, Cloyster, Mr. Mime. You need all wall breakers if you're going against these guys.
You really got to set aside an hour of your time if you want to find something that'll break through G-Max Lapras.
Yeah,
for real.
And what is tough is their biggest weakness is fighting, but especially if you're facing this team, you're gonna want that fighting move to be brick break and not close combat, because you're gonna be the fear of those screens. So either you have to run brick break and close combat, or you have to just accept that damage output's gonna be low, and that can really screw you up hardcore. And this
for real.
And the one thing is this team is fast, and so I'm curious to see what happens if someone sets up Trick Room on them, because your answers to Trick Room are Lapras and Chansey, which is not necessarily the fastest.
Mr. Mime gets fake out?
I think Mr. Mime gets fake out.
I think it does, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You got fake out on Mr. Mime.
There's always room service, by the way, if they want to do a Trick Room mode.
There is.
Yeah, that was so, because I think, now that I look at it, we did put them in S tier, but I wonder if this is A tier because it is so weak to that Trick Room mode. If you set Trick Room on them, what do they do?
Yeah, I think we can put them high A.
But also, I could be convinced out of that.
I don't think they've made any recent trades, have they?
No.
Not to my knowledge. They really don't have an answer for Trick Room other than just stopping it from happening.
I mean, which they straight up could.
They could just stall it out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They could just tank through Trick Room, kind of.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so keeping them in S, you think?
Sure.
High A.
Yeah, I think high A.
We'll toss them on the high A side. Sweet. Oh, we did the reboot and things change.
Yep.
We got the Greenville Good Boys. So here are the Greenville Good Boys. They are here. They are sitting at 2-1. Clint really coming through and kicking butt week 3. I think this was definitely the team at the beginning of the season most people were talking about.
Oh yeah.
And
Lately the god.
Not surprising because you have Xerneas sitting here, which is terrifying if it can set up. You have low budget, incredible choices of Fungus, Scyther, and Joke. And just some big that rain mode with Pelipper Kingdra and Zapdos, Rillaboom, which is support or offense. Yeah. But you beat them.
I did, yeah. It was a very, very difficult match to prep for sure. Basically the first thing I thought of was the rain mode and just kind of went from there. That's the first thing that came to mind. So you got to keep in mind that Rillaboom could just smack whatever you come in. You can just choose not to bring rain, and Mamoswine is very, very bulky and very, very strong.
Yeah, I think we talked about this last time, and weirdly enough, the Xerneas is actually the least scary part of this team for me. What is scary when I look at it is, like, you have this rain mode, you have rain which protects Mamoswine from fire moves, you don't want to do ground moves into it because Zapdos can swap in, you can't intimidate Rillaboom or Mamoswine without risking Defiant Bisharp, and it's also like, it's a deep draft, like Eviolite, Scyther, Fungus, and Dracloak are all options, so there are 11 possible mons coming every single week.
Yeah, you need to be ready for anything and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're sitting in S tier. They're below, and we'll get to it later. They're definitely below Indeedies because you came through, but also, I mean, you are going to lose when you face hard teams. That doesn't mean you're not S tier, but I think this team stays S.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Awesome. Greenway GarterBars. Who wants to start us off? And not Air, because it is his team. Oh.
Okay. I'll start us off because I go up against this team next week, and I will say to preface this, you see the Eternatus there. I actually made a trade with Air, his Eternatus for my Palkia, so keep in mind that Palkia is right there in the future. But I think this team is honestly really scary. First thing you have to look at is that Magearna, which obviously gets stronger and stronger after it harvests the souls of anything that perishes around it. The Rillaboom's extremely scary. Fast priority option. The G-Max hat is also very scary with a lot of the slower mons on this team. Very good Trick Room mode.
Yes, Trick Room Tailwind. So he could really go either way.
Yeah, and what the record was at this point was 1-2. So I think this was definitely a good, though a tough opponent in Mareep Farm. And so this team ended up in B tier. It's a really solid team, just struggling to get some of those wins. And I think you had talked about some of those times when your brain just shuts off when you're playing, and you're like, "What am I doing?" And we have all been there, and we'll all be there. I think I was watching you stream today, and then watched you click fake out on like turn 3, and then the immediate. And I feel that too. I was playing Dr. Dave H where I taunted like in terrain, and I clicked it, and I was like, "What am I doing? Why am I clicking this button?" And it's not Showdown, so you can't go backwards.
Yeah. And yeah, another thing, I get that way too many times. And another thing, Gastrodon isn't there anymore. It's Politoed.
Oh yeah.
I figured there's a lot of weather, a lot of sun, so overriding that would be nice. And also, Magearna prefers to be in the rain, helps with fire type moves. But yeah, I think B's a good spot because in general, my team is like giving a 5-year-old the keys to a nuke.
You're at least 7.
But yeah, this is supposed to be the minors, but still, a lot of people in here still have at least some VGC or draft experience. Not me.
And and you're learning. And honestly, you were so close to winning that first match too. And like losses you learn the most from. I find that every time I lose, I actually not enjoy it. No one likes losing, but I'm like, oh great, yep, this is where I screwed up, and this is where I can do better next time. So no stressing, sitting in B tier, which would be great. Sweet. This gets us. Oh, we're just getting everyone on the call today. The Indeedies. And so this Palkia is now a Eternatus, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Trade between friends.
And I'll also say that the Azelf has been replaced with Slowbro.
Oh, yes. Great.
Keeping the water type in there.
This is a 3-0 team, which I think, and not only 3-0, like 2-0s across the board, especially a 2-0 against the Greenville Good Boys, which is tough to do. So this is definitely an S tier team. That first win is a forfeit, but I think you had a good matchup. Though, didn't you like do a practice round of it? Or am I making
We
that
did
up?
do a practice round. I went 2-1 in it.
Sweet. So a win here. There. This team is great. Honestly, it's got these 3 center pieces are really difficult to deal with. Grimmsnarl, G-Max, because it can be offensive or support. Moltres is just like one of the bulkiest things on the board, and when you pair it up with Tornadus for all of that prankster shenanigans, it's scary. And I think the one thing we had talked about last time is like you brought Glalie to a matchup and went 4-0 with it, and I think I was watching, it may have been Wolfie's video recently about Pachirisu, and it was, there was some quote about it's not knowing how to use a Pokemon, it's knowing when to use a Pokemon, and like that to me says a great player of like you brought 2-point Glalie because you knew it was the matchup and you did it.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Knowing when to use a Pokemon as well as how to use it is one of the toughest things to learn, but also one of the most important. And I think that right there, on top of an insane team, cements you in S.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, y'all better watch out for this, like, partnered competition tournament that's happening in Pearl Divisions, because Clinty and I are teaming up. Once I saw Clinty bring Glalie, I was like, yep, that's it. That's who I need on my team.
That's my partner.
That's the dream.
Great.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Woo! Yes, solid S tier, sitting right there. Though the name in my brain should be the Indeedies, but I will take Indeedies. That's how it goes. This is the Marit Farm. Marit Farm are sitting at 2-1. They did have a loss to one of the other 3-0 teams, which is mine. So that is something to note. But this is a solid, I think, top heavy team.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Like, it's top heavy, but they can still make everything still at least has some purpose, even if it's not always super applicable. You can see what everything could do.
Exactly. You can see some synergies with some of the lower tier picks and some of the higher tier. For example, you take a look at Tripinch, it looks a bit out of place, but then you see Primarina and say, oh, we could do Perish Song. That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Primarina is actually, I don't know how or why, but it's a sweeper mod. Like, it really puts work in like every league I'm in, and I don't know how, but like Primarina can't be slept on at all.
No, I definitely saw it and was like, I need to prepare a couple of things for this because it's a beast. I think, it's so funny because you look at these 6, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're like, oh, that's a VGC like team. That is just a straight up VGC team. I think
It really is.
I think why this team ended up in high A and not S is that these 3 are, though have niche uses, are not necessarily things you have to prep for. Because like even if Togepi shows up, like you're not gonna prep super hard for it because it's not bulky enough that you have to like bring a strong steel move to deal with it. It is gonna take one of your moves to follow me. And then found out Impidimp doesn't get screens, which is lame. which I definitely almost picked Impidimp, and I'm glad I didn't because I found out after that it doesn't get screens. So you end up having to only prep for 8 rather than prepping for 11, which I think it makes life easier, but not easy because boy are they still tough.
Yeah. The only things I can think of that Impidimp would do would be Taunt and Thunderwave, which could still throw a wrench into some of your plans, but, not quite as much as the other stuff that its evolutions get. So, yeah, I think A is good for them.
Sweet. Moving on to the New Jersey Jellicent. So this is another one of the weird moments, friends, where this team is technically 0-3, but they had a different coach for the first match, swapped for the second and third match. So this is a third coach who was not in the first 3 matches, who also fundamentally completely changed the team, which I just want to, before we talk about that, just reflect that all of these Pokemon were still on the board. So they pulled these. I think they kept Charizard, and then the rest of the team they traded out. Charizard and Meltan they kept. So
just Charizard and Meltan.
So I think let's just, ignoring the record, just talk about this team that we have facing us.
Yeah, this team is very amazing. Synergizes very well. All around. All the mobs on this team are useful.
Yeah, who's the TR setter? Is it Starmie?
Stakataka.
I think Meltan, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me check that.
Maybe Meltan.
I don't think it gets it, sadly.
I'm looking now.
Nor do I think Sableye gets it.
No, I don't
Meltan doesn't get it. Meltan actually.
What is sort of wild is you can set Trick Room, or you can just quash your way to victory with Sableye. Sableye is one of those special pieces, and I'm a little not grumpy, but definitely pressed in that there were 2 Mons on the board that I was maybe I'll trade in a week or 2, and Sableye was one of them, and to see it snagged off the board, I was no. I was
heartbreaking.
This sleeper pick is still on the board. I'll get it later. It's gone. So that quash can just do work, and Lucia knows all about how good Goodra can be.
Yeah,
there's just
disgusting.
Yeah. Cheesy.
Yeah, he has Tailwind as well.
He does. He's got priority Tailwind with Fletchling.
Yeah.
And Regieleki too. So yeah, I think S is good for them. Top of S even.
Yeah, I think we should actually put them at the bottom of S, because though their team is great, they have to prove that they can win.
Unproven.
Yeah. I'm certain they will prove themselves a worthy opponent, but for now, I will give them the bottom of the S tier. Because this team, they are an 0-3 team, and they have just rocketed their way straight up.
Yeah, it's a great team, but it could be another case of giving a 5-year-old the keys to a nuke.
Yeah. So it's a good. Yeah, I suspect great things from Cheesy, so I am not concerned. But that's where we'll put him for now. Next up is my team. So we are the Somerville Scraggy, and we are sitting at 3-0 with 3 2-0 victories. So talk about my team, because I don't wanna.
Let's see, Clint, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. First thing I notice is this terrifying Rain Core with Kyogre, arguably the best restricted in the league. Then protects his Steel types and Jirachi and Celesteela, which is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. And he has Raichu, which is also great for support, with Lightning Rod to protect Kyogre.
Ludicolo too.
For Swift Swim.
As Tyler was mentioning earlier, he picked up Morgrim, which is basically just a discount Grimmsnarl for 9 less points. Does a lot of the same things without the offensive presence.
Yeah. And then he has Bronzong, which is protected by Kyogre and can set up Trick Room.
And can have Heat Proof.
You got Redirection with Butterfree.
Yeah, Butterfree is a sleeper pick for Redirection.
Yeah, this is another team that just every piece on this team can be used and utilized and synchronized well.
We didn't even mention
Together.
Snorlax.
Snorlax, Snorlax is what I've tried before. Snorlax can be used as a support mon, which is crazy. I'm gonna be honest. It's crazy. Like I just picked it up in another league I'm in, and I'm gonna be trying it out. But it could actually, you got the Rage Powder, Butterfree to set up, Belly Drum, and then you can just go to work with Snorlax.
Absolutely, it's terrifying.
Yeah, and I think why I'm feeling good about this team is I think this is my second draft, and my first draft was just so top heavy, and they weren't super flexible, and so I wanted a team that was just flexible, and I think there's a lot of little fun tricks in here with Raichu speed swapping to make things fast, and Bronzor speed swapping to make things slow. And I think truly each week any of these 11 could come, which I think they're not the strongest individual mons, but I really focused on the 10 to 12 point range to just get a bunch of good enough mons.
Mm-hmm.
So we put me in S tier.
Yeah, it's funny. Last season we had to get 13. I feel like with having 11, there's a lot more possibilities for team building.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't imagine trying to prep for 13 each week. That sounds like mayhem.
It was.
Just 2 extra mons, but I'd imagine that it's just mind-boggling.
It means that picks went very differently. I'll dig up my team somewhere else and show it to you guys when we're done. But for now,
Was it this? Before we're still on the topic, was it the same number of points?
no, it was 145.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
That's a little bit better. I was like, same points. You're stretching those teams thin. Sweet. But here we are. We have the other. So we have 3 teams that are undefeated right now. And this is the third team. This is Victoria Buswall. They had 2-0 against the Sableyes, 2-0 against the Jellicents, and 2-1 against the Crimmage Colossals. And pretty solid team.
I can see why, certainly.
Yeah, there's a lot here. They've got 2 justified users with Arcanine and Virizion. They've got the best TR setter with Dusclops and some good partners for it with Gigalith and Melmetal. Alchemy Gmax for support, Tangrowth for redirection, 2 beat-up users with Sneasel and Diglett. There's a lot here, and a lot that could come any day of the week.
Yeah, that Trick Room with Melmetal is absolutely terrifying because something that I learned recently was you usually never see it because Melmetal is so slow anyways, but Double Iron Bash actually has a 30% chance to flinch on each hit.
What?
What? Why?
So that's like a 51% chance to flinch if it goes before you, and that's disgusting.
That is disgusting.
Yeah. This team is definitely scary. It's got a lot of weird pieces. What is interesting is it has all worked out. I'm curious what happens when they face a tough follow me user. Because like all of these things want to be playing into each other, but they just got a lot. They don't. Outside of Trigger, they don't have the most wild offensive pressure, but if they could get those beat-ups or decorates off, they're going to run through you, and they are sitting at 3-0, so they're certainly not having a bad time. So, with that record especially. We have them in A and not S, which is interesting.
Yeah, because the play is good, but the team could be optimized in some ways. I think A is good for them.
Yeah, I'm curious. They have not had the hardest opponents in their first, the Detroit Sableyes prior to their swap. The Jellicents, which was a different team, and Crimmage Colossals. So I'm curious. They definitely have some tough opponents coming up in the next week, and then that'll show us if this is truly an S tier team or not. But I think higher on the A rank.
Yeah, that's another thing we need to keep in mind when we do this strength of schedule.
Yeah, and I think that'll be more clear after like week 5 or 6 when we start knowing these teams. Sweet. Last 2 teams. So we got the Warren Central Zamazentas. Is this team up to date? This team is up to date. So this is a team we have in the C tier, and I think we've definitely talked to Mariah a lot about this. I think Mariah just has like a lot of input coming in at once for this team, and like has made lots of trades and things.
And I think if she just like sits down, has her team of 11, and makes some choices, she could definitely pull some wins out, because there are some dangerous pieces here.
Yeah. She needs a fire type though.
Something that can easily set the sun with a Lilligant standing next to it, yeah.
I mean, she had a really good one with Volcarona, but then traded it away. Volcarona could have both set the sun and been redirection, and that would have done a lot better for her in my mind, but now it's gone, so...
I'm so bad at remembering things. What Excelgor, there it is. What is that Pokemon we talked about last time? I wonder... Does this thing get Sunny Day? It does not. It does not get Sunny Day. I was like, that would be a sweet piece for this team, because you get that Water Shuriken into Palisand and some sun. Yeah, there's definitely some things here that I think can be improved for sure. I think we're all learning. I think something that I had noticed about Mariah's team, and I'm curious if it's going to bite her in the butt, is that she always makes her Pokemon female, which is a fun thing. But like, if I'm playing the Zamazentas, I'm just bringing Attract on like a couple of things who are dudes in the world. Which I think that's still a mechanic, right? Like, Pokemon is living its heteronormative life, like straight couple Attract uses. Love that. But there is some stuff here, and so I think it's not D tier, because Zamazenta is like such a good support. You can get some coaching into Obstagoon. I think there's some pieces, and I know she's trying to get some prep help, and I think she could improve and maybe get a win or two and feel better.
Yeah, C I think is good. And then we come to the new team, who we actually still need to figure out.
Yeah, so this is the Welsh Whaleoids. I'll definitely start by saying that Matrix is incredibly skilled. He is such a good... He is a great coach, great prep, so smart in his play. Definitely smoked my boots this season in a different league we're in. That's true. And also like changed up this whole damn team.
Honestly, shouldn't even be in pro.
Yeah, though he hasn't been playing that long. He's just real good. Yeah. What are we thinking about the Welsh Warlords? I think the only pieces
are up to date.
Yeah, so the only pieces he kept were Clefable and Zygarde. Everything else is new, though he did swap out Blastoise for Gmax Blastoise. So technically Blastoise is still here, but it's the Gmax form instead.
Well, let's see here. I see a good mix of speed here. He's got Liepard, pretty good prankster user. Leafeon, I mean, it's got some decent physical bulk and also good speed. Wow.
Yeah, you can also set Sun with Leafeon.
Gober. And also it's attack.
Yeah,
it's something to sleep on. It's surprisingly bulky as well physically.
No, actually, I think he traded out all these months. Like, he traded Dialga for Kyurem.
No, this is so weird. He did it backwards. So, though the arrow, he put the ones he was keeping on the left, and for the Swallow to the right. So it looks like my brain left to right is like, oh, he's swapping these out, but it is the other way around. These are the ones he pulled in. I think everyone in the league team was like, what is happening with this list?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. What's happening?
Theorem, huh?
Yeah.
Dialga's also like, it is bulky. It can set Trick Room. You got the Rock. You got Latios for Tailwind. You got some weather stuff. You've got Coaching Machamp.
Coaching Machamp. Oof.
Into Licky. And I think something that's like, this is definitely at least I think, especially coming in as a replacement coach, Matrix is just here to have a good time. And like, when you don't have pressure to win, it is so much easier to win because you can just do whatever you want. And so I think that's going to make him dangerous for sure.
Yeah, we'll put them at I'd say bottom of A for now, just because unproven. But the team itself looks pretty strong.
Agreed?
Yeah,
Exactly.
very. It synergizes well with each other. The month.
Sweet.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
So that's the league. So in review, that's everyone, right? Yeah, that is everyone.
Yeah.
So in review, our 4 S-tier teams are the Somerville Scraggy, the Indeedies, the Greenville Good Boys, and the Jellicents, who this logo is too small for me to remember what their town is.
New Jersey.
There it is. Then we have Giratina Nightmare, Marine Farm, Victoria Buswall, Chicago Bearticks, the Dicky Deweys, and the Welsh Whale Lords in A. B is our Austin Toros, our Detroit Sableyes, our GarterBars, Greenville. Oh, where are the
Greenway?
Greenway, there it is. And then the Blaming and Burzikins were in B, but now they're dead. So they're over.
Bye.
Bye forever.
Taking a moment of silence.
A moment of silence for the blazing Berman.
Bye, Felicia.
Our C tier are the Crimmage Colossals and our Zamazentas, and D tier is our Dutch Ravagers. So this is after week 3. This is a 10-week league, so these things are certainly going to change. We've got a bunch of matchups. We'll come back in a couple of weeks and let y'all know what's going on. But I'm Tyler saying goodbye. Do y'all want to say goodbye or any last words?
Board Prime signing out.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, y'all.
Nice, and we'll talk soon. And the recording worked. How dreamy, amazing, awesome. Thanks, friends, for hanging out. We'll talk to you all soon and enjoy some more battles. Bye.
Yep.
For sure. Later.
Hello friends, you have made it to the end of the video. This is just going to be a short little segment because this video is already long enough where we just compare where the teams were after my first draft analysis and where they are right now. So as you can see, we have a little bit of a growth in the S tier. So we do have the Greenville Good Boys still there. The Somerville Scraggy, us, woo! And the Indeedies with our undefeated runs have moved up a tier and are in the S, and we've added the Jellicents, who are new, but their team is wild and incredible. They're at the bottom of the S tier. There's sort of like a vague ranking from left to right, not super sturdy, but like it's there-ish. So they're towards the bottom because we're just going to have to see how they do. Our A tier folks, we've definitely had some move ups. The Victoria Buswall with their undefeated run have moved up to A. The Marine Farm, who I thought could have been an A in the first place and have definitely proved it, have moved up to A, as well as 2 new teams. So our Giratina Nightmare and our Welsh Whale, some great, amazing coaches. They're there in that tier. You can read, you can see. At the bottom, you can just see like which teams are gone. So we have lost 3 coaches, but we have gamed the Whale Lords, the Giratina Nightmare, and the Jellicents, who all are great coaches and have made great adjustments to those teams, so they're up at the top. So this is just a little comparison. Look over there and see how they are over there. Ooh, great. This is going so well. That's all I have to say, folks. Awesome. Thanks for joining. We'll be back in a couple of weeks and see how all the teams are going. Let us know if you have any favorites or if you're excited for any teams or if you just like their logos, because the Marine Farm are one of my favorite logos. But that's all. Bye.